I'm known for my colour, so that is the main thing about it. If you look at the stand is gorgeous. Look, it's just like a little, just want to touch it. So it is the bright colours, and people say, oh, is this replacing the colour wash? No, it's different to the colour wash. One, the colour wash is a textile dye, so it's made especially for fabrics, but we use it in all our papercraft things. These aren't, because I don't want to wash anything. I'm not going to put my journals or anything like that in the wash, but I still do use it on canvas and I use it on fabric, but it's more a decorative element really. So the colour wash, so these are not as intense, and it's the colours, that's the difference. But I use them both together. So if I want something that's a little bit darker, I might use the wild plum, and that might use their wild plum. So I use them all together. So your existing customers don't need, it's not like we've done with those, now I want you to use these. It's just the choice of the bright colours, and you can see that my work is really, really bright. So they don't have the permanent heat set qualities in there, but mine are made to suit what I do, so they're reactive with the water. So we can do, like distress, you put distress and you can flake and lift the water. You can do that with mine. So whether I'm working on tags or whether I'm working in a book, I start with water, and I think that's good for your customers because I work really quick, so I can get the inks on there and blend, but a lot of people can't. So if you just spritz a bit of water on first, and I always work on one side of the book or one tag, and then take the inks, and we want puddles of ink. And don't worry about overspray or anything like that. So you can see it's nice big puddles. It's none of this, just a light spray. Oh. And then I add more water over the top because I want them to blend. So again, whether it's on a tag or whatever, I want a nice blend in there. I always say you can't go wrong in any of my classes because nobody knows what you were meant to do to start with. So then I shut the book, or I would put another tag on what I've got. So I shut that, and it's transferred the inks across. If you think to yourself, I want more colour on there, maybe I want this a bit more. I mean, I'm fine with that, but just to show if you want that a bit more limey, you can add a little bit more on. See? So this, all your mess here, you just pick up on another tag. So you've got the when I work, I don't just work on one thing, I work on loads of things all the time. And of course that's less to clean up there. So my next step is usually the stencils.
Oh, I had a question. Do you mind?
No.
Okay. If you wanted to work like in a more like watery, like pastel-y palette, could you like water yours down into another bottle?
Yes, of course you can.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So I have them in half strength and I have them in third strength as well. Cool. So yeah, no problem. So and you can do that with a colour wash as well.
Yeah, I know.
So,
okay, so that's what I was asking. Okay.
Yeah. So my stencils are made especially for me. I'm a big doodler, and everything that you see me do in the journals, people are like, oh, we want to do that. I've tried to teach people, so in the end I've brought stencils out. So they're in my size because I wanted them to be different from the other stencils on the market. So they're not 12 by 12, but they are the 12 this way, so scrapbookers can still use them. But they're more to fit in a journal. Like
a page.
Yeah, so for example, the small ones, so we've got 9 by 12 and we've got 5 by 8. It does say on the order form 5 by 7, they're not, they're 5 by 8. So they can fit in the journals. And so I like, because I like to, so when I was on the plane, I like to carry them around so I can just fit them in and go. And they've got inners in there because I do a lot of what I call the ghosting technique, and they're all very, very basic shapes. They're circles, they're harlequins, but if you look, they're not proper circles. They all came back from production all neatened up, and I was like, no, because I want the customers
the
wonky ones, because then it's easier on them, there's less stress, and also it doesn't look as though you've taken a ready-made. Yes, so like my numbers, we've got large and small in there. So we have the inners, and then we've got the borders as well. So some are full borders that go all the way around, and some are half borders, and they coordinate in the large and small. I'm not really a gimmicky person, so I'm not one who would bring out a bird or something like that. To me, it's all the stuff that looks quite normal that builds up what you're doing. And backgrounds should stay in the background.
Yeah,
that's
so
why
you can
they're called
plop
backgrounds. Yeah. So what I normally do then is I just take some water, spritz some water through, and then I flip it over and press the water from the other side. So I'm getting a positive image and a negative image. And then, can you see?
Okay.
So it's bleach. So it's that's what I call a ghost. So it's bleaching that out. So that looks as though it's got. It's all about creating levels in your work. So that looks as though it's gone down a little bit there. So
like you've done that first.
yeah. So you've done it first. Yeah. And you can mix the stencils up and do different ones. But I always like to flip them and do. Normally I wouldn't dry because I'm usually working on something else and working on something else, but I'm going to dry this because I'm going to add ink straight on the top, and if we added ink straight away it would bleed, and that's not what we want. So I'm just going to give it a quick dry, but normally in class I'm just, they're working on a tag or they've moved on, and by the time they come back to this. So I'm going to take the harlequins here, I'm going to take a contrast colour. So I'm just going to spritz through and reverse it. And you can see I have bits missing in mine, and it doesn't matter if you're overspray. If you've got ink left on here, you can spray it on something that's sat around. You can put it in the back of your book. Get the ink in the back of it. Anything to avoid cleaning. Because you don't need
cleaning.
Well, it's just, if you look in my journals here, and if you go to the back, look, baby wiped and have cleaned the stencils off, and then that's something that starts. People say to me all the time, "How did you do that background?" Well, I don't know, because all that was there. Do you see what I mean?
Started off.
Yeah, and also it means, and you can see I work. I could go pages and then
willy-nilly.
Yeah, totally. And the customers are frightened of a blank page. So if you can get them used to doing something like this on another type, they're quite happy to then go with it. So, and I mix all the stencils up. So I'm just looking at a small circle. Oh, I'll use the letters. So I'll take another colour here to build up the layers. I am quick, but you don't have to be as quick. I just am. And I always just want to show you so much. So they could continue then doing more stencils, and you could have had a layer of paint under there. You could have used the dabbers and had those under there, and then inks on the top. You can mix them all up. And we're not saying that you get this range in and then they only use this range, because I don't. I'm only using this range here, but most of the time I'm using everything. So my stamps.
How about using it as a colouring medium? Could you colour gesso with it?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
And their paint and the Adirondack paints?
Yeah, you can.
So you make cool, more intense, and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like my background stamps. I love the archival inks because I'm going to stamp with background, but I might spray some more on later, so I don't want it to run. So that's why the new colours are found. My background stamps I don't put on a block really, and I ink them up very badly, because what I want is I want to sort of roll it a bit here and just can you see, so I just get portions of it. So because there's nothing worse than seeing this on your work. So if you just do it like that, and then we just clean it off on something else, of course, they get used to just being quite abstract on there. So we'll do it with the. So you get a different effect every time, and you just slowly build it up. And then I'm going to add some black. So we have 10 bright colours, and then we have the 2 dark colours, because you always need something to anchor. So I've lost my label. How can you lose a label? I'm like, did you give me one with a label? Yes. How can I lose a label?
Okay.
So I've got the black
and brown,
and I've got the melted chocolate. Yeah. So I'm going to use the black, and I'm going to use this one. And as you've seen, I'm not really bothered about overspray, but I'm going to just put this under because customers will be to start with. So if you put that under there, you're not going to spray
what you've already built.
Yeah, and you're not going to get all these big circles through. So, and just lightly, just put it on, and you can see I didn't spray in every place. I've left gaps in there. You can be neat and precise. I'm just not. So, because I like this random look, but I am aware that a lot of people might not. No, I can't be bothered. But, you see, so you can add in and you can spread a little bit more there, etc. Oh, look, I cleaned that. That's rare, isn't it? So, but then I'm going to take this flower. I like framing things, but can you see how the black now balances it and just makes it all... So I'm going to take the flowers and I'm going to take the black archival. And I'm going to finish stamping a frame. And again, don't worry if you miss bits or anything like that. Oh, I've got some black there, so that can go on there. So you're building up constantly. So I colour in as well with my inks. What I normally would do is I'd normally get one of the ink palettes and pour a little bit in each one and then get the brush, which is great, and it's a $5.99 sale. But in Tim's class the other day we were doing the markers and he brought out his brushes, the new brushes that we've got, and they're fantastic. They've got a really nice point, and I've used loads of brushes over the years, and so the fine point, and then this one, it's got the broad tip, which is fabulous for doing washes. And also, if like me, you're very messy, this clips off, so you can clean it better, but also you can do much broader washes on there. Just when you put this back on, just make sure it's wet and you put that to do it, because otherwise if you do it with a dry brush you'll damage it. So he's in the class and we were using the distress markers and he gave us all one of these with water and we had to blend, and I was like, ooh. So just try. So I got a pipette and I did, and well, that was it. I filled it all. And then at the end of the class, Tim said, what did you think of my markers? And I went, yeah, because all I'd done was play with these. So I filled them and I love them. And again, my stamping isn't neat, my colouring in isn't neat, but it's just fab. Just be loose and just, it's a flower in that area. So you can be, look, you can sit like this. I'd rather poke my eyes out with a blending tool. Do you know what I mean? No, but people can. I'm not saying just because I do it like that doesn't mean that, your customers. But I like to do things quickly. It's just the way I am, and I like that haphazard look.
How amazing is that you have 3 or 4 layers of colour on top of each other?
Yes.
And it still hasn't turned to that ruddy, disgusting brown.
No, not at all.
It's
not at all.
gorgeous. It's still vibrant. Everything shows through.
Are you my agent?
No.
Fabulous. But it does. You won't get a true colour on some of the things. But
it's still
it'll
good.
just,
Yes.
and you can add them together and do. So it's just fun, and they stand, can you see how they stand out? So suddenly, instead of a $5.99 sale of the palette, which I knock over every time, I love it for my pearls and dryer things.
Yes.
You've got, they've already got this. They won't buy them all, because if they buy them all, that's a big chunk, but they'll buy a couple to start with, and they'll love them, so they'll come back and buy another.
Them.
Yeah,
It's like if you buy,
no, I mean these.
Yeah, but I'm saying, if you say, when you buy 3 of these, you can get maybe one of